Hey, what's up? Joe Joe in the morning, family. I hope everybody is having a super good day. Hey, I want to talk to you about something that I know is going to help you. This is some advice that I have taken myself years ago. This is advice I've given to a lot of people, and it's really turned out good for them. I think it was Mel Robbins say one day, she said, no one's coming. Nobody's coming to rescue you. And I remember when I was younger, I was always looking for an opportunity or somebody to tell me what to do or somebody to give me an opportunity in ministry or business or something like that. And then when I realized that God made every one of us with a creative edge, that we can create the opportunity that we're looking for. There's a lot of people who they've created ministries, they've created businesses. There's a lot of people who go to work and work for great companies. You know, it may be in the medical field or in warehouses or wherever, but they go and they punch a clock and work 8 to 10 hours a day. That's cool. You work at a job, probably got good benefits, but in your free time, you can still create the opportunities that you're looking for. I remember one of my buddies one time, we were talking and he said, man, in the city that I live in, man, I can't find a church or revival hub that, believes in revival and an outpouring of God. And I said, look, when you can't find what you're looking for, it's probably because you were called to create it. Remember that when you can't find what you're looking for, it's because you were probably called to create it. Shortly after that, he went and created a revival hub that I'll be preaching at here in a few weeks. And I remember I never wanted to start Roar Church Texarkana. And, I would go out and we would travel and do conferences and revivals and see salvations and signs, wonders and miracles and all of this stuff happening. And I remember I'd be like, man, I just don't see anything like that in my city. And the Lord kept calling me. He said, well, create it. And so the thing about it is, my first thing to the Lord, and I said, I don't want to create it because I travel. But the thing is, when you create something, and I told our church from the start that, I'm not going to be here every week. My wife won't be here every week. My kids won't, because my kids are now traveling. But we're always going to have a group of people. So we raised up a group of leaders. A lot of my calling is to be out and to travel in other churches and congregations. Now, I'm here most of the time. I try to travel during the week. I remember one time we were on a family vacation in Panama City, and somebody visited our church from Panama City. If you didn't know, it's about a 10-12 hour drive. And so they were like, I didn't know you weren't here. I'm like, I'm in Panama City. They said, oh, that's where I live. And so, I try to be here as much as I can. But we created an atmosphere in our church just about the presence and the power of God. That's what we do. We have a lot of prayer meetings. There's times that I was looking for different incomes or different type of ministry outlets, and I would create things. A lot of times people are frustrated because they're looking for something that they can't find. I remember for years I was looking for a mentor who loved me, loved my wife and I, for us, not our gifts, not our talents, not our finances, not our, influence, somebody who loved me for me. And so that's, we look for years for that. And a lot of times you can't find what you're looking for. Maybe you're called to create that for other people. We have a lot of people joining our mentoring program, and I love it. And they're like, Joe, you're just so real and authentic. And I said, yeah, here's the thing. I don't need anything from you, okay? I don't need anything. And so I hope that's making sense. Like when you go and get a job somewhere, hopefully they're going to love you and appreciate you and honor you, and they're going to pay you a fair wage for your time and your effort. And so a lot of people are frustrated because they can't find what they're looking for. We've got a few people that's already moved to our church in Texas, in Texarkana, Texas, And just somebody else messaged me, said that they're moving in February. I got somebody who just moved in from Missouri. Just had somebody. People are starting to move in. A lot of people are messaging me that they're moving. They said because what you've created is what we're looking for. A place that just has a lot of prayer meetings and focuses in on the Lord. And so it's just something that I created. And when you create it, when you build it, the people will come. You know, if you build a Mexican restaurant, people will come. I know I'll be there. You build a steakhouse, people wanting steak will be there. I remember years ago when I was in my early 20s, I said, man, Texarkana, we need some more restaurants. They started popping up everywhere, and they're filled. And so create. A lot of times people get so frustrated in life, and I tell them, well, create something. And they want something, but they're not willing to create it, okay? They're not willing to create it, so they'll sit around and complaining. People who complain about churches and businesses and different things, a lot of times they're negative, yes, but a lot of times they were called to create something themselves, and they will never be satisfied in a ministry or business that they weren't in the foundation of building it, because they were called to build something. You've all, if you've been in ministry for any amount of time, you've seen people who come into, I remember we had people that come into our church, and every time they met with me, they brought me a sheet of paper. This is what you need to do. And I remember the first time I looked at them, I said, hey, you're not God, you're not my apostle, and you're not my wife. Those are the three people that speak to me about what we're supposed to do here. Blah, 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 blah. Well, they left. They came back again second. I brought me a sheet of paper. This is what you need to do. The Lord said you need to do this. And so I said, okay, hang on. Let's say right here. So I text my apostle. I text our prophet. And I text another mentor. This somebody's in my office. This is what they said we should do. And I said, no, sit right here. I'm going to show you something. And they all said, rebuke, rebuke, rebuke. One person said straight up Jezebel. And I said, you've been rebuked. Because you're trying to come into something that's been going on for years. You're brand new. First of all, your family's a dysfunction. Second of all, you ain't got nothing going on. You can't keep a job. Why do you think you would come in? And I said, out of love, I said this because I'm a nice guy. I said, it's because you were called to create something. And because you're not willing to step out in faith and put your neck on the line and put a lot of finances into it, you're trying to get a prophetic word God gave you and push it off to somebody else. So they left. I prayed over them. They left. No problem. They still ain't doing nothing. And they're mad. And it happens all the time. I had a lady come into our church one day and said, oh, your worship team's pretty good. I said, yeah. She said, but I need to take over your worship. I used to be a well-known worship leader. I sang with this person and that person and that person. I said, why ain't you singing with nobody anymore? I said, I don't even know you. I don't know your character, your integrity. See, this lady was called to create, and she went from church to church to church to church, trying to take over something that was already established. And to this day, she is known as one of the most negative people in our city, not doing anything, because she was called to create. People don't ever do this, but if someone ever comes to our church and tells me their opinion, I say, go create something yourself. Go right on down the road and create something yourself. Like our church, we don't have complaining. We don't have arguing. I'm super easy. I'm like, here's the deal. Jump in with what we're doing or go create something yourself. It's real simple. We've had a few people come in and try to split our church. We've had a few of those and stuff, and they wanted to create something, but they did it in a dishonorable way. I'm like, hey, if y'all want to leave, just go. I don't care. And so they left, and they ain't none of them doing nothing. No one's built anything. That's the problem with a lot of people. They won't come. Listen, if you're going to be in a church or a business, don't ever talk about your pastor. Don't ever talk about your boss. If you don't like it, you can leave and go create something yourself. I remember I had a mentor I was at. He told me one time, he said, Joe, you're going to need to leave before long because you're called to create. I said, man, I don't want to create. I just want to travel and do ministry and write books and videos. And he said, look, I'm telling you, you're going to get frustrated here because you've grown to the place you need to launch out. You need to launch out and do what you were created to do. I remember one time I had this uneasy feeling in my soul, and I knew I was going to create a business. Man, I got into the business world. I love it. I love business. I love business. I love numbers. I love getting in there, figuring out things. It's my apostolic gift because I was called to create something. Now, there's some people that they're not called to create anything. You ever seen some people who work a 9-to-5 job and you pull up in their front yard and you look at their amazing landscaping and the flowers, you walk in their house and it's absolutely beautiful. Wow, who decorated your house? Oh, I did. Why is that? That's where they release their creativity. People come in and they work a 9-to-5. A lot of times you walk in their house and their houses are beautiful. That is how they create. You ever seen, not all stay-at-home moms are like this, but I've seen some stay-at-home moms. They take pictures of their kids' foods that they create, and every meal they make them is an adventure. You know, a pancake with the little eyes and everything. That's how you create. When you create, it is a flow. That's why writing books is a creating for me. Doing videos every day, I'm creating, I'm releasing. God has put something inside of all of us to release. I remember one time we're at my house and my wife looked at me and said, go to your office and release that video. I said, well, what do you mean? And my kids were like, Dad, you're on edge, you're tense. You got something in you, you got to release. So I went in there and I did about a 20-minute video and I came out and I said, whoa, I feel better. My creativity was released. Our God is creative. Watch a sunrise. Watch a sunset. Look out over an ocean. Look at a beautiful mountain range. Our God is creative. He created us in His image. We're called to create. So 2024, get out there and create. And if you're looking for somebody to run with you in 2024, check out our mentoring program. The link will be below. I'm telling you, I do a once a month call, and then we have a Facebook group we put people in, and I do 2 videos on there a month. And I pray for people. I pray for our mentoring people every day because I want to run with people who want to create, who want to do more, who want to go for it in life. Okay? Love you guys. Hope this helped.